Hey everyone, hope everyone had a nice Christmas. Welcome to the stream. This is, you know, your regular Tuesday cloud and DevOps stream. And yeah, um, so now I did I would say quite a big update for me. I have three screens now, which is awesome. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, go do that. I post, regular updates about my setup and stuff. Unfortunately, I haven't done a YouTube video on my setup yet for 2023, but it was Boxing Day and there were a lot of great sales going on. So I finally upgraded to a 4K monitor as recommended by my friend Gwen. You all know Gwen. So, and for the past 3 4 years, I've only been using 1080p monitors, so like HD monitors, and also 24-inch. So I finally upgraded to a 28-inch 4K monitor, and the difference is huge. It's huge. Like I'm loving this thing. My eyes are thanking me, right? So the main monitor is now 4K, which means I had two 24-inch monitors that I was left with, one already being in portrait mode. So I moved the other one too as a portrait monitor. So I have three screens, two portrait, one main 4K screen, and it's been amazing. I do have to do some cable management now, but for the stream, um, it's pretty good. It's pretty good for the stream because now I have my OBS and Spotify stuff running on one screen on the left hand side. I have my YouTube stream so that I can see that OBS is sending some data to YouTube on the other side. And then on the bottom, I have my chat working so that you can see it on the screen. And then on the main screen, I'll be showing stuff like, as we navigate through some questions that the chat might have. So, welcome everyone to the stream. That was my update on my setup and what I bought this Boxing Day, um, along with some camera gear that I got. Nothing huge, just a bag so that I can carry my camera around, which was also on a good deal. And I will let you all guess what's another update that you see. You can see it on screen, but what's that update? Um, if someone can guess it, that would be awesome. Let me know your guesses in the chat. And let's start going through the chat itself. So Ravikant says hi. Shivam says hi. Hey everyone. I'm good. I've been enjoying a good break now. I was off. I'm off for 2 weeks until January, so just enjoying the break, getting some time off. Right. Ravikant says, "Oh yes, do like and share the stream. Last last stream went really well. We got a lot of questions answered, and the audience was pretty happy. So yeah, the best way to support this channel is like the stream. If you really like the content, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything in the future. But yeah, um, Mayur, hey Mayur says, which thing should I learn in advance before starting my course in Conestoga College as a CPA student? We'll get to that. Caroline says, I'm joining from my couch. Awesome. Akshay is here. Hey, Akshay. Uh, Caroline says, three screens is the minimum anyone should have. Yeah, I think so. Like now, I think there is no going back. Earlier, I used to be a two-screen advocate, so like two is enough, three is overkill. But yeah, I can see that changing. Akshay says New Delhi, awesome. Sumit says, hey. King Birdshot says, hey. Shivam, what problem solve DevOps and how? We'll get to that. Manraj Sandhu says, I'm joining from Amritsar, awesome. Um, Amit says, hello from Cuttack, India. Karen says the learn to cloud in the background from Gwen. Yes. So I asked the chat if you can guess what's the what's the change in my setup, and it's the logo that you're seeing. Remember earlier you used to see a cloud in yellow. I still have to find some space for that cloud, but Gwen sent me this Learn to Cloud light, which is awesome. So this will be the background that you'll be seeing on most of my videos if I'm sitting on my desk, live streams and stuff, right? Cheryl is here. Cheryl's from Windsor. That's pretty close. We should meet someday. Um, King Birdshot says I'm from Gujarat. Awesome. So a lot of folks are joining from India. How could different to development? Okay, so let's start getting into the questions itself. So Mayur says, which things I should learn in advance before starting my course in Conestoga College as a CPA student? So CPA, if people who are in the chat are not familiar with the Canadian, diploma, curriculum, and names, CPA stands for Computer Programming Analyst or Computer Programmer Analyst. So I think we talked about this a little bit, Mayur, and I would say, like, go to Conestoga's website. So let's do that right now. If I can share my screen. Okay, so that's not the screen that I want to share. So display capture, properties. I want to say it's 1. There we go. So let's go to Conestoga College. Okay. Full-time programs, sure. CPA, let's find out CPA. There we go. And where is the courses? Okay, so you can already see that there's networking, there's mathematics, right? There's user experience, there's web foundations, there are programming concepts 1 and 2, and programming dynamic websites, right? Unfortunately, they haven't written which language you'll be using here. So, Mayur, what I would do is start with networking, because I think networking is like base of so many careers in IT. So start with networking. It'll take some time if you're just a beginner. So yeah, go ahead with networking. If you go to learntocloud.guide, there's a networking phase. You can find all the resources that we recommend. So there's free code camps, video-based course. There is some books we recommend for networking. So go check out learntocloud.guide and start with networking. And then I would say start with, web development, because you have web foundations and you also have that in programming concepts 1 and 2. So I think HTML, CSS, and JavaScript will take you, a step further along with networking. And this is for level 1 and level 2, right? So I think you'll be good for like the first 2 semesters. So that's my suggestion. And then you can do your own research if you go to view more levels, and you'll see in level 3 you have SQL, so you can learn SQL, right? You have computer security in level 4 and a lot of other subjects that you will have. So yeah, you can do more research, but that's the way I do it, is I go through the curriculum and then start preparing for the first 2 semesters. But yeah, that's my suggestion. Let's move on to the next one, which is what problem solve DevOps and how? I'm guessing you're asking what problems does DevOps solve and how? So I would say anything that's, so the majority of the part that we solved, and by we I mean when I was a DevOps engineer and our team solved, is the automatic deployments, and also faster deployments. So one thing that we were facing at that time is that whenever we had a new version going out, it would take us a day or 2 days to get everything set up because everything was manual, and then deploy the new version, make sure everything is still working. So a lot of manual stuff could cause it to go for 2 days. So once we moved to automatic deployments, again, that was a huge shift. You had to write a lot of CloudFormation, PowerShell, Bash, right? Because there were a lot of Windows and Linux servers. So PowerShell and Bash would automate stuff on the server itself. CloudFormation would deploy them. But yeah, so automating infrastructure, bringing down that deployment time, making sure the deployments are automatic, and then also a lot of Git automation. So if someone created a branch, a PR is made, and if the PR is approved by, let's say, X amount of developers, how it is merged to our production branch, how does the QA do testing on it? The QA needed, an environment where they could test. So that was all moved to cloud with the help of all these scripts that we come up with. So I think that's the main thing that DevOps do is bring down the time for the software development lifecycle, right? If we can make deployments easier and faster, and we can make updates in smaller chunks, it means our product can develop faster. So yeah, I would say that's the problem it solves. Let's move on to the next question. So how cloud different to web development? Oh, it's web development. You might be using your skills to develop a website. Cloud, you are deploying that website to the public by the help of public clouds. So what it means is you might have not created the website, so you might have not written the HTML, CSS, JavaScript for that website, but you have to figure out the underlying infrastructure that's needed to make that website go live. So that's the big picture difference, and I think it sums it up pretty good. Sumit says, I got to know about you from Kunal Kushwaha's channel. Yeah, shout out to Kunal. He's a great creator, and he's. I met him in person for a dinner at HackCon. It's I think the first time we met, and yeah, I have been seeing what he has done on YouTube and like the community wise, right? And he's doing great. He's he has inspired a lot of students and a lot of community members, especially people who are from India, right? So shout out to him, and yeah, curious, how did you know about, like, was it the live stream that Kunal did and gave me a shout out, or was it something else? Oh, the question is for Sumit. Sharul says, moving to Toronto soon. See you at the meetup. Awesome. So if I could do a poll, I guess, on the stream too, but I'll put it in the community tab later on my YouTube channel. So I'm planning to do a cloud and DevOps meetup, maybe in January. I want to make it in person. So it'll be in person. It'll be in Toronto. But if I get enough interest, only then, right? So if you're, and this, I want to do, focus this one on students. So if you're a student, and or if you're like early in your career, you almost graduated, I would highly recommend this, right? It's a great opportunity to meet your peers and I'll definitely have some, guests too. So there will be me, but we'll get some more guests. Hopefully, someone from AWS and Microsoft. We'll see. But this meetup will be in Toronto. So you can check out my channel or you can follow me on LinkedIn. I posted a poll there and I'm sticking to whatever the results on that poll will be. And if I get enough interest, I'll find a venue and we'll go ahead with the meetup. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Shardul. So, and hopefully your move goes well since you're moving to Toronto. Can you give me the link of Kunal's video with Sumit? Yeah, so I don't know if it was a video Sumit or if it was the live stream because I did saw the live stream. And just let us know in the chat because I see already people interested in it. Okay, your advices are helpful for us, so thanks. No worries, Kingbirds. That's what I'm here for. That's what the streams are for. X Live says, "What about software testing course in Canada? Mainly PG diploma, 2 year." So if your goal is to go into QA, right, I would say it's a great PG diploma. Right, it's really focused on software testing. That's what I love about diplomas. They're so niche. They're like you gain the skills in depth for a particular technology. So yeah, if that's your goal, go for it. Um, Akshay Kumar says, "I've done Microsoft Azure fundamentals. I want to know that should I go for cloud engineer first and then DevOps engineer, or should I directly focus on DevOps since many things are in common both?" Yeah, as we are progressing, Akshay, things are getting like there's a lot of overlap. I could see cloud being, a major part in both of the roles. Like for cloud engineer, it makes sense, but for DevOps too. And if your ultimate goal is for DevOps, yeah, go for it. The other stream, like last week, I shared a junior DevOps opportunity. Unfortunately, it was only, for Canadian folks. But yeah, I'm seeing more junior and entry level, you know, DevOps engineer roles that are being posted. I would say learn one cloud provider in depth, so you know how to use cloud. In your case, you're already familiar with Microsoft Azure, so I would progress with that. But yeah, for job seeking, I would say go for DevOps roles. Just build some skills and projects. So you already know about the DevOps guide. It's in the description of this video. The link is thedevops.guide. Go check out what are the skills that are needed for the DevOps engineer role. Shivam says thank you. Shivam says nice Red Hat cap. Thank you. Yeah, I so I if people don't know, think I share this. I share this interest with Gwen. We have a lot of hats. We love hats, and this one I got at the reInvent in Vegas. It's pretty cool. It looks really good. But yeah, I think I have 10 tech tech brand hats and then few other hats. But yeah, and talking about Red Hat, we got a question here: how to start learning Red Hat? RHCSE, let me know. Cap looks nice. So the other day, someone else asked this, and unfortunately, I don't know anything about RHCSE. I know there are Red Hat certifications. That's all I know about them. So I think it would be better, say, if let's do a quick search. Okay, I think free code camp should have something, but if not, yeah. So this one is Red Hat certified engineer. Okay. Um, But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not so aware about these certifications. I guess it's called RHCE, or there is a different one called RHCSE, or it's CSA. So system admin and the certified engineer, right? Yeah. Maybe next year. I don't have a plan of taking these, right? If I do, you'll see me posting about it. But yeah, my usual workflow. Here's what I'll tell you. So my usual workflow is, if I'm not familiar about a technology at all and I want to go through the certification route, is I go through the actual documentation, right? The FAQs, the overview of what the exam would be about, right? And then I pick resources depending on what the exam is. So I would do a quick Google search if I'm interested in a book or in a course, and then I would read about it on Twitter or Reddit. Twitter used to be like a great review for me. So, or if there are creators that I follow, creators on YouTube that I follow and they have taken that certification, they usually would have an article or a video about it, and then see what they recommend for resources. And if it's a course, let's say LinkedIn Learning or a Cloud Guru or Pluralsight course, I would take that, and then go for the exam. So that's my process. Unfortunately, I couldn't help you a lot since I have no insights into the Red Hat certifications. I've used their distro, so that's all I know. Okay. Shivam Tyagi says, is it advisable to do backend first before applying to DevOps roles? I don't think so, Shivam. I had zero, or I don't consider myself a developer. I won't say zero uh, programming language knowledge, but I did know some Python. I used to write some scripts in Python and Bash before moving to DevOps, but I was not a backend developer. So there. Amanjot says, how can I get started? How can I get a cloud job in Canada? Those are two questions, and they both are. So the first one I'll tackle with is learn2cloud.guide. Go check out learn2cloud.guide. It's learn2cloud.guide, and you'll get a structured path on getting into cloud. You can start from zero and then move your way up to, the other phases. So that's how you get started with cloud. How can I get a cloud job in Canada is a different question, and it totally depends on, like, I'm finding roles are really hard where companies would sponsor you to Canada. I think remote roles are better than, you know, finding a role where the employer would move you to Canada. Like, there are far less roles like that where the company would agree. You would have to also do a lot of hard work and be exceptional for a company to bring you out here. It's not that it's impossible. It's just that I'm saying it's hard. So just keep that in mind. And how you can, or for the remote roles, you can work for a Canadian company out of whichever city or country you are in. And some of these sites that I look at is Remote OK. I think is a good one, and there are a few others. I think We Work Remotely is a good website to look to find remote jobs. Divesh is here. Hey Divesh. And then we have a question from Knowledge Blaster. He says, "What kind of knowledge I should gain before starting course of computer system technician in Loyalist College, sir? Please guide me. I have a lot of free time as I defer to September 23." Okay, so I was teaching cloud to the same diploma course, but at a different college. What I would say you should start with is networking, right? So familiarize yourself with networking, how TCP/IP works, three-way handshake. What's the difference between TCP UDP? There's a huge course on YouTube from Free Code Camp, so go ahead and do that. It'll give you, you'll get ahead a lot as like when you come here and start your college. Then also do Linux. So start learning about Linux, how Linux is different from Windows, learn about the operating system, different, what do you call commands, and learn about Bash. Um, and then I would say also do a bit of cloud. So, you know, learn about what cloud computing is, what are different concepts like load balancing, auto scaling, benefits of cloud, right? CapEx, OpEx, what else? IaaS, sort of like, different pricing models and different structures that are in cloud, um, shared responsibility, right? I think that will be like that would give you a really good start before starting next year. So that's my suggestion. Divya says, hey, how to get internship in cloud? Easy. Search for internships in cloud. Um, what I mean by that is, you know, put intern in the search when you're searching for a cloud engineer role. The only catch, Divesh, would be that you, for at least for Canada, you need to be a student. So you need to be enrolled in a university or a college, and only then you will be considered as an intern. Shivam says, "Is it advisable to do back?" So Shivam, I already answered that. It could be a glitch in my extension thing that I'm using to pop up chat. What is the best way to start IT career? Tech support. I would say help desk or tech support roles are the best way to start a career in IT. That's what I did. That's what a lot of my um, peers or a lot of my friends that I know did, right? So Carolyn, she was in the chat earlier, watching from her couch, started in help desk. Gwen, um, one of my great friends, she started in help desk and now works at Microsoft. So start in help desk. You'll learn a lot of valuable skills that can be transferred, right, into whatever career you want ahead. So yeah, that's my suggestion. Knowledge Blaster says, "Hello, sir. What kind of knowledge I should gain before starting course of computer system technician in?" Oh, okay. I see. It's a plugin issue with my the tool I'm using. So I already answered that. I really appreciate your videos. I have a question about college. I studied business and want to do IT field. How would you think about boot camp to study IT? Is it difficult to find a job? So boot camps are expensive. Nevertheless, the college education itself was expensive. Um, and what I think is there are resources available. There are resources that me and creators like Gwen, Carolyn, Kunal are creating that are available for free. You just have to put your mind into it and do the hard work, sit and study, and you don't need a boot camp. Like, why pay $10,000 if you have all these resources for free? You have the books available for what average $25, right, on Amazon. Um, you have all these video-based resources available through Free Code Camp, and all the other creators that I just mentioned. So why go for the boot camp, right? So that's my argument. And since you already have a credential in business, right, I would just, yeah, start poking around, start researching what you want to do in IT. As I said, help desk is a great role to start your career in IT. It's not that well paying though, so but it's a great role to start in. But yeah, that's my advice. There's a lot of resources available online. Few of them are really good, and you should be able to do it. Oh, so Butter is here. He says, "What's up, Rishabh? When you hit 10K subs, tease on you." For sure, for sure. I'm planning to do a giveaway. I don't know what we are at right now. Like, what's the subscriber count right now? We're at 9.87K. So, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please support this. Help me reach 10K. I'm so close. It was a goal for this year for me to hit 10K subscribers. We still have 3 days, 3 or 4 days. I don't know if it'll happen. But yeah, if you can help, share my channel. If you find these streams helpful, if you find any of the content that I create helpful, share and support this channel. That's all I ask. Okay. Someone says it was a collab for you, Kushwaha, and another man. Wait, what? As far as I am aware, I haven't done a collab with Kunal yet. It's something that might come, but wait. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I haven't done a collab with him yet. But hey, glad you find the channel. um, Ronak says, how do suggest a graduating student should try to get a job? Look for entry level roles, build projects. If you've done internships or co op, list those. List the skills that you learned in those internships or co ops. Be active on LinkedIn. So if you're building a project, start posting updates about that project on LinkedIn. Tell about what technologies did you use to build that project. Build a network on LinkedIn. Reach out to people saying, "Hey, I'm looking for an entry level role. Can you refer?" I think referrals work great. Yeah, those are my suggestions. Krishna says diploma in computer programming is better for job opportunities in Canada. I think so. I'm doing good, right? Not to brag, but I think I'm doing good with my life. I did a diploma in computer networking and technical support, not even programming. And I wish I could go back and say, hey, switch me to CPA. But yeah, I think you need to work hard, definitely. Like, you need to have the right mindset. It's a constant, learn industry because things change so fast in technology field. So there's that. But if you find it interesting, if you're passionate about tech, it's a good career. I would say it's a well-paying, good career in Canada. Shivam says you can share with us remote job opportunities. I do that. I do that. Um, Let me share the link to my newsletter. So that's how I do it. I have a newsletter or I share it on Twitter. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, if you don't have Twitter, I would say sign up for my newsletter. Um, I'll share the link with you. I don't know if this is the right link because I recently moved um, to Substack. So please, has this question been answered? I'm very interested. Is it advisable to do backend first before applying to DevOps roles? Yes. Hey Nelson, welcome to the stream. It has been, but the answer was that in my experience and the way I moved to DevOps, I didn't know much of programming. Um, Not even like I didn't consider myself a developer. I wrote some scripts in Python and Bash, and that was it, and some PowerShell. Um, but I was not a backend developer, and I moved to DevOps. I did know about infrastructure a lot, right? Because I was a cloud engineer, so I did know how infrastructure works, how our apps are deployed, um, yeah, and like just the basics of how APIs work, how we make them available to our customers, what is the architecture behind it. And having that knowledge, it was easier for me to move to DevOps, but I don't think you necessarily need to be a backend developer. But you need to have some understanding of Python. Like you need to be able to write some scripts, right? So yeah, do like an introductory level Python course, when you should be fine, and like also Bash. So scripting is needed. I would say that, but not being a backend developer. Hassan says hi Rishabh. Oh, Sumit says you, Kushwaha, and another man collab and did a video on discussing how Indian students are being fooled. Wait, what? Trust me, I know they're being fooled, but I'm being honest. I can't remember. Not remember. I know I didn't do a video. Send me the link. If you can find the link, share it in the chat or send me on. If you find it later, send me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm really interested now. Rajat says how to get into DevRel. Build the skills that are needed for DevRel. So public speaking, technical writing, being able to present technical topics to an audience. That's how I landed it. So, I had a YouTube channel. I had spoken at events prior to this, prior to my like DevRel role. Right, I had my personal blog that I was running for 2 years. So I had a lot of technical articles that I wrote, and yeah, Twilio saw those skills, and I was able to get into DevRel. Surbi says, "Bhai, there's a practical exam they have tomorrow, and how should this do it?" I feel like it's already night if you're in India, so like you can only, I don't know, cram stuff at this point, and I wish you luck if that helps. Ronak says, "How do you got about doing AWS Solutions Pro?" So I don't have the AWS Solutions Architect Pro certification. I am planning to do one professional level. I just don't know if it'll be the solutions architect or the DevOps. Um, and I think with my expertise and the experience that I have, it shouldn't be that tough. But I'll still have to study for it. But yes, that's something that I want to do. Maybe next, like this coming year, and then I'll post about it. But usually, what I would do is, Stefan Mark is great. I would take a course of Stefan Mark. He's on Udemy, um, or and then maybe do some practice exams from Tutorial Dojo, and read FAQs and like white papers from AWS. I've used like code pipeline, code build, all of the DevOps tools, right? So I will do something similar. I will go into each service and like try to build something, and then sit the exam. Hassan says, Risha, which AWS associate level cert should I get first for cloud engineering? Solutions architect. Earlier, I would say tell people to do their research, right? Especially, so your question is like well formulated because people would ask, what certification should I do to get into cloud? And that's a really ambiguous question because I don't know you want to do Azure or AWS. In your case, you said AWS associate level, and also you want to enter cloud engineering. So I would say solutions architect is a good certificate to get into that. Um, Dheeraj says, thanks, Risha, for this live show. Can I restart my career in IT field with cloud computing? Yes. I've seen folks that are in their 40s or 50s enter cloud. Anybody can enter cloud. I think it's the hard work and mindset you need to have. Like you'll have to study, like of course you have to study, but you need to be consistent. You need to show up. You need to work on your soft skills. You need to build projects. You need to get certifications, and then you need to apply for jobs and hear rejection, but you have to keep going, and then you'll land a job. But yeah, it's you can do it. Nelson says, "Do you think being this is the glitch I was talking about." Amanjot says, "Thanks, Rishabh. Thanks, Amanjot, for joining the stream." Oh, hey, Kavalya. I hope I pronounce your name right. I've been connected with him on Twitter for quite a while now. Um, what are companies looking for when they are hiring DevOps engineers, preferably fresher or intern positions? So, as far as I know, like the job descriptions that I've looked at in Canada, they need they need to know that you can write scripts, right, in Python or Bash, or it'll mention in the job description. So, scripting knowledge, cloud provider knowledge. So, they'll also list that if it's AWS, GCP, or Azure, they'll list that. You need to have a working knowledge of a cloud provider. Um, they also need to know that you're familiar with the SDLC processes like CI/CD, version control systems, right? Um, Also, IC tools in some cases like Terraform or CloudFormation or Azure Bicep. Um, what else did I see on the entry level roles? Um, you're familiar with different architecture patterns, so you can study about those in like the well architected framework guides that AWS and Microsoft has. But yeah, that's all they need. And like to stand out, I would say have a project that you can showcase where you have applied these principles, right? So yeah, that's my answer to your question. Uh, Mahmoud says, "Thanks, Risha, for this live show." Oh, let's see. I don't know what the glitch is. I have to figure this out. Andrea says, "Hey, I did some projects, but it's very hard to find a job in Norway. I have SAA or Solutions Architect, GCP, and Terraform certifications. All companies in Norway they want junior, mid-level to know senior knowledge." So, Andreas, if you're willing to move or if you're interested in remote opportunities, I would say start looking at those, right? If not, I would say, yeah, build the expertise. Um, Build the expertise. Show them you can be a senior level or a mid-level engineer, and it's doable. You don't need a job to do that. You can build really complex projects that will showcase that you are a senior engineer. But yeah, that's my suggestion. And also, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Norway. that better. But I do know that I think you can easily move within Europe, right? So I would start looking at opportunities outside of Norway if that's something that's possible. Like, I don't know if you have a family, right? Or look into remote roles, which you can do still being in Norway. Harshit says, any thoughts about web dev? Is it worth it in Canada? Yeah, yeah, it's worth in Canada. Um, the question is, how much are you interested in it? Um, because I think if you find something that's interesting to you, it's easy to pursue and be consistent and give your 100% and keep going. Um, if you're not and you see some failures, like let's say you were on an interview, you got rejected, or you're seeing less opportunities, you'll quit because you're not willing to put up with that and you're not really interested in getting into web dev. So the question is, how much are you interested in web dev? Karanjot says, hey Rishabh. Carolyn says, hi, 100% agree. Start in tech support, I would still do if it paid more. Very fun job. Yeah, it's really fun. The skills, they're great. I enjoyed my time, even though I had, um, you know, nightmares or angry customers that I had to deal with. But considering that I had the opportunity, and that's how I started in tech. So, yeah. Bother says 100% agrees. Support is fun, but pay is an issue. Has anyone done the AWS Restart program from Amazon? Let them know in the chat. I have heard about it. I have heard it's a really good program. Unfortunately, I cannot do it, right? But yeah, if you're in Canada, let me know. I can put you in touch with people who run it. Karan says, I started studying your Learn to Cloud guide around 2 weeks ago. I just completed the first 9 chapters on the first book. Though I remember some commands, but I keep forgetting most of them and have to look again into the book. Yeah, and that's fine. You would. So the way I remember my commands is when I was working as a cloud engineer, and every day I had to type them on our Linux servers, and that's how they stick. That's how the different arguments a command would have stick, right? So like grep and all of these other tail head commands that I had to use daily, and that's like how you can also do it. It's the practice. It's the everyday practice that'll get you there. Yes. So I won't say like memorize it to just a certain extent. Don't like cram it, and then move forward. And then what I would do, put Linux use into practice. So like set up a VM. I don't know, set up WSL and like start using the command line on a daily basis, right? And then once you like are in the cloud phase and you'll build projects, you'll probably spin up Linux servers and then you'll, you know, kind of use the commands more, and that's how they'll stick. Okay, I answered that. Shivam says, if I have learned DevOps in my second year college, will this count as 1 year experience? No, until unless you did a co op or internship. So any co op or internships would count as experience. Learning it by yourself will not, but you can still list that on your resume. Please tell about some cloud related projects to get hired for internship or job. Akshay, I would say Cloud Resume Challenge is a great one to start with. And like once you have done that, you can ask the same question next Tuesday and I'll have another project. But yeah, Cloud Resume Challenge, Google it. It's a great project. It's available in all three cloud providers, so you should be good. What else have I not answered? Okay. So Guru says, is self learning and doing small projects helpful to work in live production DevOps environment? because I'm a software developer. I wanted to move to DevOps because I like the automation and infra more. Is this the right time to switch the company? And also, I'm trying to move to European countries from India in DevOps role, and tips for moving abroad. So yeah, Guru, I would say look at remote opportunities, right? Seems like you already have good experience, so you might be able to. It's not a great time to move companies because of all the layoffs and stuff, but that's only kind of true for like big tech. Like you can tackle some smaller companies, and given the experience you have, you might be able to convince them to move you, right? Um, Apart from that, I would look at remote opportunities, and then in certain cases, you can ask them, "Hey, I want to like, let's say that company X has headquarters in I don't know Germany." You can say, "Hey, like I've always wanted to be in Germany and kind of work from there, because since you have an office there, is it something that we can work on? Is to move you?" Um, and it depends on your luck. They might agree, right? But what I would also suggest is see if you already have a DevOps team at your current company, right? Just to gain that DevOps experience and then start looking for roles. That's what I did is I looked at the DevOps like responsibilities and stuff and started doing it in my cloud engineering role, and then I was moved to DevOps and like started doing that, right? Because to your question, you said, you can't replicate the production live experience, right? In our case, we had like 1 million like connections or 5 million connections every day on our production app. So I can't replicate that on my one of my personal projects. I don't have that much traffic. And that's why I started working on, the infra and the DevOps side of things at work, even though I was just a cloud engineer. But I could speak about my DevOps skills when that time came, right? So yeah, I would say try that out. Ivana says, thanks for the advice. Thank you, Ivana. Thanks for tuning in. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to answer all the questions that students or in some cases professionals have in the cloud or the DevOps space. Um, Dheeraj says, appreciate for your answer, Rishabh. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Vedant says, what is the difference between cloud computing and DevOps, and what is preferable to start first? I would say cloud is preferable to start first with. The difference is in cloud, you are maintaining the environment in a certain cloud provider. You're managing the infrastructure. You are kind of an administrator for that infrastructure and the access that few other people might need to the infrastructure. This could be servers, databases, buckets hosted on the cloud provider. DevOps is all about automating the process of the code itself that the developers have written to be deployed to the infrastructure. So this could be it's the complete SDLC, which stands for Software Development Lifecycle, right? So you have to make sure you understand version control systems because that's where the code is stored, and you have to figure out CI/CD, which is continuous integration and deployment. So once the code is merged, how is it deployed to the infrastructure that the cloud team was managing, right? Um, you have to understand. So you can also automate the infrastructure itself. So if you need a new server, you write some CloudFormation or Terraform or Azure Bicep um, as code, and that would deploy the infrastructure that's needed for your app. You have observability and monitoring, so you make sure the right metrics are being captured, so that your if you have customers, your customers are getting the best experience. Those are some differences, big picture, and then these can vary according to how different organizations work, right? Aman says, "What's your age, Bo?" I'm 25 right now. I used to receive this question a lot in previous streams. I don't know why. Sumit says, where can I find a community where I can get clear doubts on cloud project, how cloud projects work? Learn to cloud.guide. We have a Discord. So if you go to if you go to discord.learntocloud.guide, we have a community of, I don't know, a really big community that'll help you. Um, Guru says, what is the chance for getting? Let's see how many questions we have. Okay, we are left with few, and then I'm almost at that 1 hour mark, so we'll end the stream. And I'll go back to enjoying my break. What is the chance for getting DevOps role in Canada from India? Now is the current situation. Do we have opportunity from India who sponsor visas? I would say very less, very less. To be honest, Guru. Just what the economic situation right now is in the entire North America. So big tech doing layoffs. There's small and medium-sized businesses who have now this pool of candidates that were laid off that they can hire from. So it's really hard to ask an employer to sponsor you. If I think that makes sense, yeah. Andrea says, thanks, Rishabh, for answering. No worries. Aman says, Rishabh, do you think you would have been in a better position if you had done a bachelor's instead of diploma? I don't think so. I still plan on going back to school, and every time I try, I just argue with myself, why I have to spend $30,000, whatever amount, and 3 years to get my bachelor's when I have the knowledge that's needed to do the job, if that makes sense. Given the choice to go back and it wouldn't have costed me that much money, like when I was doing my diploma. So let's say the diploma fees and the bachelor fees was really close. Yes, I would have done my bachelor's back then when I was 17. Now, no. Harshit says, I appreciate it. No worries. Thanks for tuning in. How similar is Azure and AWS? I started with Azure, but now I feel like AWS have more potential. Potential-wise, they all have same potential. It's if you're saying it from the popularity point of view, and if you're living in an area where AWS is more popular, yeah, then I would say, pick the cloud provider that has more job postings. They're not different at all. Okay, the name's different of services. The way certain cloud provider will work is different. The UI would look different. The managed services that they provide might be different, but underneath, there are basically servers in a data center connected together, ready to provide you services. The reason why I say this is, so I was familiar with AWS for the last, from 2018, right? I've been doing AWS. I've done it in a professional setting. And then I started learning Azure because that was the requirement at my DevOps job. So I got really good with Azure, at least I feel like. But then I landed a role at Google for GCP, even though I had zero experience in GCP. But I was able to onboard pretty quick because I just knew, how cloud works. So I hope that helps answer you, that answers your concern. Is DevOps demand 24/7 support where I concern about health? Example, like a triage call, how you can handle it. So yeah, I was on call as a cloud engineer, but not as a DevOps engineer. So I think it really depends on the company. In certain cases, I've seen you need to be on call, but then in certain other companies, it's not a requirement. Like they have a separate team of SREs that are on call. Andrea says there are a lot of companies which are using Azure in Norway, but I know most of everything in AWS. So I'm thinking to start to learn Azure or not. This is a question. Yeah, so I would say start learning Azure if that's the case, Andreas, and you will see there the learning curve is not as steep because you already know a cloud provider. So the skills are transferable, and it's just the naming that might throw you off, right? Jackson says, should I need? So if you ask if you need cloud practitioner, you don't need. If you're asking if you should go for AWS cloud practitioner before going to the associate, if this is your first cloud based certification, yes, I would say go through cloud practitioner because it will also give you the 50% discount for your associate. But also you'll get familiar with how the certification exam is, like a demo run. Even though it's not a demo run, you'll get if you pass, you'll get the certificate at the end. Um, just to get the sense of how the certification work. Can I directly get cloud solutions architect certificate without prior industry experience? I've seen students do it, and yeah, so you just need to, you know, learn the skills that are needed, build like a project, one or two projects that are hands on, and you can differentiate between different services and architecture designs, and you should be good. August says, how much salary can I expect as a full stack dev in Canada? We talked about this last stream. Let me do a quick Google search. Okay, so the average salary of full stack is $85,000 dollars per year. But towards the high end, it can go up to 150,000 Canadian dollars per year. And all of this is average in Canada. So, think about different provinces because so the average salary in Ontario starts from 110,000 and then can go upwards to 200,000. Whereas somewhere in Nova Scotia, it's $75,000 a year. But again, it depends on how much experience you have, and this is base salary. So, in certain companies you'll get stock-based. I forgot the word. What the hell? Stock-based compensation. Stock-based compensation. So, your total compensation at the end of the year could look really different. But yeah, expect somewhere around $90,000 a year. But again, I don't know which, province, city you're talking about. So that'll give you some more data points to work with. What's your take on the multi-cloud versus single cloud argument, specifically for a beginner who already has working knowledge in one cloud? So Georgie, I have worked with a SMB where we provide services where customers could host it in any of the cloud providers. Earlier, it was only AWS, but then we had to, span it to Azure and GCP. And for us, it was like a preference that the customer might have. So maybe the customer wants it in GCP, maybe they want it in Azure. But any of the, and this was for self-hosted, so any of the apps that we hosted ourselves, everything was in AWS. So I don't really get the point of multi-cloud. Talking from like a medium-sized business, right? I don't know if even with enterprises, like how would the discounts work? So for us, we committed a certain amount of spending to AWS, and if we spend that amount, we got huge discounts. Like then how would you justify that if you moved things multi-cloud? Because now you're spending, let's say, a chunk of money on AWS, a chunk of money on Azure, a chunk of money on GCP. Whereas earlier you would spend the entire chunk on AWS, and AWS like, oh, this is a high-paying client, right? So here, take this much amount of discount, and we would get support and stuff, right? Build that connection, build that relationship with one company. I think that helps. Thank you, Rish. Thank you so much, Risha. Would love to connect with some more questions in coming streams at Twitter. Awesome, yeah. Akshay, yeah, I know you from Twitter, so Let's stay connected and shoot any questions if you have. Uh, Aman says, for 25, you're doing pretty good. I'm on the same path as you. Hopefully, I can pull it together. Yeah, age is just a number. There's no, don't take it as a competition, right? As an inspiration, sure. As a motivation, sure. When you're competing, compete with yourself. That's what I do. Is I compete with my previous year, um, and try to do better every year. Thank you for answering my query, Rishabh. So this is from Guru. I have 6+ years of experience and don't have DevOps team within our team. I already learned and did hands-on Ansible. Awesome. AWS, Linux, Terraform, help, Argo CD, but lag in confidence. Yeah, don't. Yeah, you have to build that confidence up and believe in your skills that you have learned. Um, because if you're not confident, they can also see that in the interviews too, right? So make sure your facts are right, trust in the process, build the skills. You already have the skills, so start believing in them. Gaganpreet says, as a beginner, what do you suggest regarding Linux skill if one wants to go? What do I suggest is learn Bash, learn all the different commands that Linux has, how they can be used to manipulate, read, write, and do stuff to text files and folders and directories. That's what I suggest is learn the commands. Shivam says, are you going to upload tech tutorials in 2020? Yes, of course. This channel will keep growing, right? I'll keep building stuff and keep uploading. The latest video I did, and I think that will be the end of the year video, is the load balancing one. It's a long video. It took me quite some time, but it is 18-minute long video. It explains what load balancing is, and there's also a hands-on project or hands-on lab that you can do with me in that video. So go check it out. August says thank you. No worries. Jackson says many job requirements for developers is asking Kubernetes and Docker still, but why? Because they are working with containers. So containers is really popular. I'm seeing a lot of companies moving to container-based, architecture, and yeah, that's why they mentioned Kubernetes and Docker. Much appreciated, Rishabh. Thanks for hosting this live stream. Awesome. So we are towards the end, and we are over that 1 hour mark that I try to usually keep it around. But this was an awesome stream. I think a lot of you got value out of it. I enjoyed answering the questions. And as I said, this is your, weekly Tuesday show about cloud and DevOps and any other career related questions you might have. And thanks for tuning in. The best way to support this channel is by subscribing. I'm really close to my 10K subscriber mark that I had as a goal for this year. We are at 9.87, which means 9,870. Let's see if we can hit that 10K in 4 days. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the kind comments. And let's stay connected.